It's no exaggeration to say that Peanuts is one of the most popular and influential comic strips in history, and I myself have been a lifelong enthusiast. Throughout its 50-year run, there have been dozens of animated specials, countless merchandise, and of course its fair share of video games. And the one I'm going to be talking about today might just be one of the best. As the name suggests, Snoopy vs. the Red Baron has you playing as one of Snoopy's most well-known personas, the World War I flying ace. Right off the bat, the first cutscene makes it clear that the game takes place within Snoopy's dream, which he then types down shortly thereafter. The opening tutorial has Snoopy on his doghouse, but once that's completed, you're given a proper aircraft, the Sopwith Camel. And from here on out, the controls are pretty simple, though you could choose to participate in additional tutorials if you're so inclined. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time the Peanuts characters and setting have been rendered in 3D and an officially licensed work. While it doesn't look as nice as the Peanuts movie, particularly the character models, it still works for the game, and the environments are vibrant and colorful. There's also 2D artwork of the Peanuts characters wearing military garb inside of the speech bubbles, which is a nice touch. The voice acting is pretty rusty, but I guess that's all just a part of the Peanuts charm.
The particular grade of unobtainium being mined is unique to the stringent manufacturing requirements for the purloined doodlebug bomb, which indicates imminent production.
What did she just say?
And hearing Bill Melendez's signature Snoopy laugh after completing an objective or mission is always satisfying to hear. The soundtrack by Tommy Tallarico is definitely a highlight of the game. The ballpark music is calm and pleasant to listen to, and is reminiscent of Vince Guaraldi's iconic jazz compositions from the Peanuts specials. Meanwhile, the combat music is exciting and powerful, and sounds like it came straight from a war epic. If playing as a Beagle flying an aircraft during the First World War doesn't make you feel like a badass, then this certainly will. Given that this is a kid's game, it's not very difficult, but still provides a fair enough challenge. There's a variety of enemies for you to shoot down, along with a plethora of weird secondary weapons to give you an advantage in the skies. And some of these enemies can be pretty tough, with at least one of them capable of giving you a 2-hit KO, even with maximum health upgrades. And the worst part is, they're introduced during a very slow escort mission, and we all know how much fun those are. Still, none of the levels are very long or sadistically hard, but they aren't pushovers either. There's also a bit of variety with the boss fights, where you even play as Woodstock in a few of them. I'm not quite sure what kind of advantage that provides from a tactical perspective, seeing as how Snoopy is pulling him along without he himself shooting at the enemy. But I guess I shouldn't question the logic of dreams, especially ones from a dog with an overactive imagination. Really, this game is pretty violent for a Peanuts property, seeing as how it's all about shooting people out of the sky and blowing things up, and not just slapstick violence. But of course, it doesn't get too dark, and shows enemies parachuting to safety once defeated without even a scratch. It's still kind of funny though, that the only injuries that are ever referenced to are strictly in regards to vehicles, despite, taking place during a major real-life war. I mean, the real-life Red Baron is credited with killing dozens of men in combat, and yet the worst that ever happens to anyone in-game is Snoopy getting dizzy if you lose a life. But that's just me overthinking things. The story isn't anything complex, which should be surprising considering that this is a Peanuts game, even if it does take place during World War I. Snoopy is the self-insert hero of the war, whose ultimate goal is to defeat his arch-nemesis, the Red Baron, once and for all. Oh, and Charlie Brown gets kidnapped because of course he does. No offense. I can also appreciate the various references to Peanuts' running gags, such as mentions of Linus's blanket, and how everyone is written in character as they were in the strips and cartoons, so it doesn't just feel like a flight combat game with the Peanuts label slapped on. And in addition to the main objectives, there are additional statistics that affect your level rating, which gives some extra optional challenges. But for as fun as the game is, the last level is a bit underwhelming. Hell, the Red Baron himself isn't even the true final boss, and is honestly not that hard to take down in the first place. It doesn't ruin the experience by any means, but it was something that I noticed nonetheless. Still, despite a somewhat lackluster ending, the game is overall very enjoyable and charming. I can't say I have much experience with flight combat games, but this one was easy to understand and control, while also having a fair enough challenge for a kid's game. It's a bit surprising that Peanuts of all things would be adapted into a full flight combat game, but nonetheless it's a solid one through and through.